Sports.
All right. And there it is, my cliche intro. Shawn's here, so hi, Shawn.
What up, dude?
I didn't want to do the whole, I talk for a minute, and then it's like, oh, by the way, Shawn's here. So welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be back, dude.
In the studio, too. So we love it.
So fresh and so clean.
We're going to get right into it. There are some quarterback controversies. Well, one maybe not quite a controversy, but there is certainly something amiss in Dallas. And now you saw something on Twitter. I heard some rumblings. I've heard maybe a couple of clips here and there, some talking heads. It's mainly just people who need a quarterback pining for the Cowboys to go ahead and trade them Dak. But so I'm hearing some rumors that Cooper Rush might be the guy to start. Shawn, what have you seen? What are your thoughts?
I mean, that's what I've heard as well. I mean, since Dak went down, Cooper Rush has started 3 games. Bengals, Giants, Commanders, and they've won all 3. So, and they've also, the defense has been playing really good too in those games. So it's not just the offense. Like, the defense is, the 19 points that Brady put up on in week 1 is the most they've allowed since, which, cool stat, bro.
Real cool stat, bro. They've been killing it for my fantasy squad.
Yeah, dude. They've been playing really well. So, I've heard some talks that Cooper Rush could be the guy going forward, but then I've also heard with Dak's ready to go, so he may mess around start this week. But then I also read something about he can't even grip the football 100% yet. So, a lot of things that make you wonder what the hell's really going on out there in Dallas. But I will also say, performance aside, it's no secret that Jerry Jones was never a huge fan of Dak to begin with. He was super butthurt when he had to pay him that money. He was not. I forget exactly what he said, but I know he said something kind of fucked up to him, about how he overpaid him or something. I can't remember the exact verbatim wording that he used, but I know once after they signed the contract, there was something about him saying yeah, I definitely overpaid you or something along those lines. It's why would you fucking say that to your franchise quarterback who you just cut a huge ass check? Why would you even say that?
Because he's mad that Dak robbed Jerry of a chance to watch his real son Tony Romo have one last go round. He was mad that Dak played so well that Tony had no choice but to retire. He didn't want that. He wanted his real son, Tony Romo, to ride off into the sunset. And now he's still holding that grudge. And now it's Cooper Rush time. And I have heard the amusing little anecdotes, the comparisons to Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady transition. See also Tommy Maddox and Ben Roethlisberger, where the big difference being, actually not. Were those week 1? Did Dak get hurt in week 1 this year? It was week 1, wasn't it? Yeah. So week 1, the starter comes down, and now the big difference being Cooper Rush is not a rookie. He's been on the practice squad for a minute.
Yeah. How old is that dude?
I'll have to look that up. I want to say he's 28. He's not the youngest guy out there, which is another factor here.
28.
28?
93, yeah.
Yeah, if he were a bit younger, then this gets even more interesting because at that point you could be looking at this. Because that's what happened with Dak, right? Was he 23 at the time when and it's okay, Tony's definitely on his way out as far as his career speaks, and Dak is a rookie out here. He's going to be the guy of the franchise. And you're looking at Cooper Rush. He's a 28-year-old who's had 3 good games. Who's to say he's not Nick Foles?
They're actually pretty much the same age. I mean, Dak just turned 29 in July.
Yeah, so
they're,
one more year, maybe?
Yeah.
It's not like you're sitting here, unless you're truly of the mindset that Dak's not our guy, and we need to sell high, while he still has value. We think he's about to have a steady decline, which I don't think is the case, because that's the other part. As much as you mentioned it before, Jerry has always had a problem, or maybe hasn't been as supportive of Dak, but here he is. He's been the one guy saying, oh, Dak's coming back, Dak's coming back. Yeah. He's going to be back faster than you think. Although, like all of us, he originally reported 6 to 8 weeks. Jerry was the first one. I think why so many of us wrote it off was because it was Jerry Jones saying, oh, he could be back in 4 weeks. He could be back in 5 weeks. We're not putting him on IR. And we're like, okay, Jerry, like, here you go again, pal. But the stitches are out. Now, if he can't grip a football, some of me is wondering if this isn't just a little bit of strategy here.
Some smoke screen.
Yeah, like if why not for the next 3 weeks, let's make teams game plan for Cooper and Dak. Because that's what I would do, isn't that? Would you be doing that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's actually pretty smart for real. But, I don't know, man. And it's just the whole, like, would you trade Dak? I mean, if you were in that position, would you trade him?
That was going to be my next question to you. Like, let's see, would we do it? Who would you move on from? Because I'm of the opinion.
You think teams are going to really want Dak with his injury history as the last few years? Like, he gets hurt every year now.
What's the price point for a guy like Dak? Is it going to, I don't think he's getting, is he getting a Matt Stafford kind of return? I don't think so. What is he getting? A Russell Wilson-esque return? I don't think he's going to draw a Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz sort of market share. I think he's going to be a little more valuable than that.
I mean, he signed a 4-year, $160 million contract back in March, and it's up to $164 through incentives.
Yeah.
So, and it's $126 million guaranteed.
And in that, if that's the case, how do you what's the proper return value for Dak, and are you going to get it? Who's somebody going to give you a second?
I don't see anybody want to pay him that though.
And to give up at least some second and third round picks, you're not getting him for nothing, and that's why I think it's Cooper Rush that has the potential trade value. Although, again. But wait, there's more. There's this thing. There's like a million hooks in this thing. It's like some weird, Viking thing from the Northmen or whatever, which just got a million hooks hanging this bad boy up. Because what about Dak's injury history? Yes, you have an asset with Cooper Rush, but he's kind of probably his best value to you is just as your backup quarterback. Because, clearly you've needed it and you've won those games with him in. So I would just be very happy about my abundance of riches currently, knowing that Cooper Rush is going to probably be the next in a long line. Nick Foles, Matt Flynn, David Cobb.
Yeah.
Right? Was that even his first name? I can't even remember if that was his right first name. But you get what I'm saying. Mike Glennon.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen a guy make $8 to $20 million on a 2-year deal off of a 3 or 4 stretch of games?
Yeah.
Brock Osweiler got some money, didn't he?
When Chicago paid Mike Glennon all that money to go. Oh my God, it's so gross.
It's almost always Chicago. Yes, that's the thing.
God.
Cooper Rush is going to be playing in Chicago next year when they give up on the Justin Field experiment. And he's going to get overpaid, and he's going to wind up back in Dallas as a backup as a 32-year-old. That's my opinion on the matter. But if you could find, if Dak comes back and someone else suffers an injury in the AFC and you have an opportunity to fleece somebody and say, yeah, I'll take a 3rd-round pick for Cooper Rush, do it. This guy's been on your practice squad all them years.
Bro, your boys might be in the market, bro. Colts, like I say.
Don't let my coworkers hear you say that, man. I am like the lone gunman going up against Matt Ryan's squad. I've been really harsh on him, but other people are willing to forgive 10 fumbles and multiple interceptions through 4 games, and I'm just not. Everyone wants to say
forget, but don't forget. Bro.
Yeah, dude. It's like if they want to say if you discount the 10 fumbles, half of which are the O-line are responsible for. Okay, fine. We're still then attributing 5 fumbles in 4 games to our franchise quarterback. I'm not okay with that. I'm not willing to concede that to you. I understand the O-line is the problem.
Like, that's awful.
But, he's been a pro for how long? What's one of the first things they teach you guys. You
but he is an old man, though. He is an old man. Okay, he's about 3 years away from having an AARP card. Though.
Yeah, but he just don't do Carson. You never go full Carson Wentz, and that's what he's doing. He's extending plays. Just throw it away, dude. Throw it away. Carson Wentz had 8 fumbles all year, and that was unacceptable.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But here we are.
4 games deep and 10 fumbles. Like, that's nuts.
Luckily for Matt Ryan, he's had a boatload of passing yards, because if he hadn't, he might have gotten the Mitchell Trubisky treatment this week.
Yeah, got his ass benched.
Yeah.
So who is the backup in Indy?
Nick Foles, baby.
Oh, are you serious? Oh, my.
It all comes full circle, boys.
goodness.
Nick Foles leading us to the playoffs. And then there's Sam Ehlinger, who Colts fans are very high on. Some of them are, but again, I remind you, we celebrated when this man made the 53-man roster. I don't know if that screams franchise quarterback.
I think the boys might have fucked up when they let Jacoby go. The way he's been playing overall in Cleveland. I mean, he had a rough week this past week, but overall, dude, he's been holding it down up there. And I'm just saying, man, could have had something with Jacoby. I don't know why they let him go.
The first 3 quarters of last week's game, I was looking out my window in the rain at Jacoby Brissett playing in my front yard, just thinking about the days gone by. And then the fourth quarter happened. And I was reminded, oh, that's right. Jacoby Brissett is, and I think this is a compliment, he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. End sentence. Nothing above that. I think he's one of the best backups we've got. But Jacoby Brissett, to put it in a little more detail, what I think Jacoby Brissett is a discount Jimmy Garoppolo in the sense of that play style. He's more athletic than Jimmy. Where he is a beast is QB sneaks. Like Tom Brady used to be the GOAT of that. Jacoby, if it's 3rd and 2, just call a QB sneak. Like that. Yeah. The dude, he's big, he's athletic, he's hard to bring down, he can extend plays, but he has, and I'm saying 3 to 5 throws, and I think that's being generous, but we'll say he has 3 to 5 throws a game. Open receivers where he's overthrowing them by yards. He's throwing it 3 feet over their head. He's overthrowing them by yards, and you're just like, dude. What are you looking at? Because he'll have those throws where you're like, wow, he just put that one on a rope. Right. Wow, look at that. And he's a West Coast game manager. They run similar offenses. Like, I don't know, maybe that's why. But whenever I see Jacoby Brissett, I'm like, maybe Jimmy G's the poor man's Jacoby Brissett. Maybe I'm getting him. They're kind of just, Jacoby's more athletic and a bigger guy and much more durable. So like I feel like I have to give him points there. But maybe Jimmy's a little better thrower. But they both do those things that just drive you nuts. Like, where he just threw that one into the sideline, threw that one into the stands. What are you doing? So, I don't know. I agree with Naheem Hines, who stated in an interview, has tweeted about, like, hey, this is our 3rd quarterback in 3 years. And he expressed his frustration. We're going up against the Titans, and I've played against Ryan Tannehill, about to say Matt Ryan. I played against Ryan Tannehill every time we've played against them. Like, we're playing against these teams, they have established guys. And every year, he's saying, we have to start from scratch with a new guy and build, new rapport, get in a rhythm. And it's just adding to their frustration, I guess. So I do think sometimes there's that. If they had just stuck with Jacoby, they'd be on, like, year 3 of Jacoby. But I don't know that they'd be doing anything better than what they'd already have been done. They'd be about 500 either way.
Well, speaking of scrubs, how you feel about old Mitchie Trubisky getting benched?
Speaking of scrubs, it's Mitchie Trubs.
Yeah, boy, Mitchell.
Well, Kenny Pickett, who I hear is being rumored to star as Shane Footsteps Falco in the new Replacements remake, looked pretty good out there. He scored on a rushing touchdown where he had a nice cutback. It seemed like it was almost an unnecessary cutback. Like, I think he could have just taken the corner because he ended up with 3 guys on him when he did cut back. But yeah, he wanted the juke. It's like he's like, y'all won't let me do the fake slide. Like, fuck it, I'm saucing somebody. But his passing numbers didn't look great. He had a couple of interceptions, but if you watch the tape, I can understand why they made this move. And I think we'll get back to Mitchie here in a second. But when I looked at Kenny's game tape. Because when I first saw Schefter's tweet about it, and I see the stats, and I'm like, oh, yeah. So they brought him in the second half. He throws 3 picks, and they're like, yeah, let's go with this. Which part of it, I think, is just an admission by Pittsburgh that, like, we're not a playoff team this year. Maybe, again, they might throw tomatoes at me and say, Big Ben, we're going to do another Big Ben. And Kenny's just going to be Kenny ball game and go ball out. But I think this is saying, let's just see what we got with the kid. And there were a couple of throws that he put. There was soft in the coverage. There was a stop route, like a deeper curl that was well covered. Just put it on a rope, dude. Just put it right in the guy's hands. There was the one interception that I think was underthrown. We'll talk about that maybe right now. The deep ball to Chase Claypool. Did you see that one, Shawn?
Yeah. Personally, I thought it was on the money. I mean, hit the dude's hands, both hands.
That is where you're supposed to hit it.
Yeah, exactly. If it hits your hands, you catch it. I mean, that's always been a thing. You played football.
That's why I didn't play as much as I should have.
I was just saying, dude, hit your hands, you catch a fucking ball.
Kevin, go out there and block. Yeah.
Kevin, get this block. But no, I mean, was it a great throw? No. But it's a throw that I felt like should have been caught. I don't necessarily put that pick on Kenny. But I thought he looked good, dude. Like, for a young rookie coming in, not really having much experience. I mean, he played a little in the preseason, but they honestly didn't play him a lot because I think they were trying to be cautious when he get hurt. They knew he was going to play at some point.
I think so, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was going to happen no matter what. I think a lot of it probably had to do with the pressure. I mean, I think Tomlin was just kind of like, you know what, dude, I'm tired of hearing this shit every week. When you playing Kenny? When you playing Kenny? And I think he was like, you know what, fuck it. Mitch is out here staking it up. Had 89 yards in the first half. And it's just like, what he had a pick. I think he had an interception too.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, he just
completed half his passes.
Mitch, another guy, when you talk about backups, I think he's a great backup.
He should go back to Buffalo.
Yeah, be a backup,
today.
Dude.
Go be Josh Allen's backup, dude.
Be a fucking backup.
He'd put in work in that system.
Legit. So, I mean, I think he's a great backup, but he's not the guy. Like, he's just not, dude.
Yep.
Kenny, I mean, he looked good. I mean, I'm not buying all the hype about he's the next Marino and all that stuff. And, kid went to Pitt. And,
that's why.
Yeah,
that's just like, yeah.
Because
next, if Notre Dame ever has a quarterback again, they'll just say, he's the next Montana. Because nobody can name another one. That's all that is to me. Because, what about Kenny Pickett's game says, oh, yeah, there's Dan Marino? Is it his tall stature and his rocket launcher of an arm?
He's a working class kid
from Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah, Dan Marino, the working class man. He's out here probably still hawking Nutrisystem. Yeah.
Actually, I think he is. I saw a commercial like 3 a.m. the other night. Dan's out here just all about that Nutrisystem life.
Don't give me that. He is going to be the next Dan Marino, the next AFC quarterback to play for a decade and not win shit. Anyway, now that I'm making friends with all the Steelers fans, I will say, I completely get why they made this decision. About that throw, the deep ball to Claypool, I thought that it should have been a little flatter and closer to the sideline. There's been a lot of debate, of course, that's all Twitter's for, so there's been a lot of back and forth of, if he had thrown it deeper, the safety gets picked. But if you look at it, to me, it hits Claypool in the hands, but he had to kind of come back for it. It was a little behind him. Absolutely agree with you. He's got to catch that ball. Like, he's supposed to be, he was going to be that dude, and I think, I mean, plays like that, being a Notre Dame fan, having seen that before, plays like that are why I went with Pickens as my late round Steeler receiver to potentially be a future flex guy. Yeah. Because I've seen too much of that from Chase Claypool over the years.
He's supposed to be their number 1, right?
He's their number 2. Deontay Johnson is the number 1 there. He's the guy. And then, I think Pickens is going to end up being the number 2. But, Pickett to Pickens, that'll be fun for us all to say. But, I get why they did it, and I can understand wanting to see what they have going forward. And I think we're going to see he's not the last rookie quarterback I think we're going to see play. I think it's only a matter of time before we see Ritter in Atlanta. I know they continue to somehow manage. They're a lot more competitive than I think anyone gave them credit for. A lot of experts predicted this to be a 2-win team I believe they already have 2 wins.
Yeah.
They've been in every game that they've played so far, even though sometimes they've been a team of 2 halves. But
I want to go on record saying I kind of called it. Because, I thought, dude, because Mariota playing for the Raiders, I got to see him in limited action the last couple of years. And I'm not going to lie, when he's healthy, dude, he's not a bad QB. He's mobile as hell. He's got decent accuracy, pretty good vision. I mean, I thought he has what it takes, especially going into an Atlanta team who has been, spinning in turmoil for the past few years, living off, Matt Ryan's ghost. You know what I'm saying? They needed a new piece to kind of bring some kind of rejuvenation to the squad, and I think Mariota's done that. He seems to have pretty decent chemistry with the players, that his weapons that matter, fucking Kyle Pitts.
Except for Kyle Pitts. Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I mean, Drake London's been getting me some points out there.
Drake, meet me at the London has been great. And you know what? I'm going to take this moment to flex while we're talking about the Falcons. Tried to tell y'all about Al Jair. If you were listening to my mock drafts, I told you. And I don't like to do the 5 guys to add to your waiver wire because most of those guys aren't ever available in a competitive league. But I was lucky enough to stash Al Jair in a 14-team league, and now it's good because ETN sucks, so now I'm about to have, if Jonathan Taylor can figure it out, dude, we're about to be cash money with Lenny Fournette. Look out for me, dogs. But yeah, Atlanta, I don't know, man, but that's the thing. Mariota, some Falcons fans are saying, he's what's holding them back at this point. So.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard I haven't. I watched a decent amount of that Browns game, but to be honest, I watched a lot more of the Browns offense than I did pay it. We were hopping back and forth. Luckily, I was at a house where they were willing to let me watch some of the Colts games. So basically, I was watching it every time the Browns were on offense. I watched them. I didn't see much of Mariota, but some people that I trust that I work with over at Last Word were saying things about it's only a matter of time before we see Ritter. So. I think you can look for that.
What do you think is going to happen with Malik Willis, man? Do you think he's going to play it all this year?
Not at this point. No. I can't see it. I mean, the division is right there for the taking for Tennessee. Now, they play the Colts again in a couple weeks, and maybe if they start to slide and then the Colts beat them, if they go on a losing streak, maybe. But this last week was such a big game for that division, and it got bigger by Jacksonville blowing a 14-point lead to the Eagles, because now Tennessee's tied for first in the division now. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, he threw for 170 yards against the Colts, but he also completed 70-something% of it. He was 17 of 24 for 173. Don't quote me. These are Tannehill. And so, I think he's going to be the guy. So I don't think we see Malik Willis unless they're playing for the playoff spot. And I know a lot of us discredit it, but this team did win the AFC last year. And if Treylon Burks can somewhat spell A.J. Brown, Robert Woods has started to build a bit of a rapport with Tannehill. I think you're running with Tannehill the rest of the way. But Malik Willis is definitely a guy to watch. Now, one of the other guys I've been interested, I want to ask you about, Matt Corral in Carolina, because people are already calling for Sam Darnold to get Baker's job when he comes back, which is some crazy recency bias, because anybody who's remembered the Sam Darnold experiment remembers that it didn't go so well. Wow. He won his first 4 games, or it was 3-1, and his first 4 starts were great for Carolina, and then he started seeing ghosts again. Yeah. And he's just fallen off. So I'm looking ahead and thinking that, okay, well, it's only going to take if they do get to Darnold, it's only going to take a few weeks for that to run its course, and then we're looking at rookie Matt Corral, right? And so I could still see the Panthers eventually making their move to their rookie guy. I actually had somebody tell me that the Colts should have gone the Baker Mayfield route instead of Matt Ryan, and I do not agree with you, friend. I do not. So, yeah, it's. Are there any others? I don't know that there's any other quarterbacks, rookies or otherwise, that I think there's really going to be any kind of competition. We're really probably has seen it now that Zach Wilson is back.
I was just about to say, Zach Wilson came back. He looked pretty decent.
You know, the Colts will be signing Joe Flacco to a 2-year deal next year.
Yeah.
So we have that to look forward to.
Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you what, though, man. There's I don't think you've never, ever heard me say this. And I almost don't want to say it. But I'm going to say it. Derek Carr might be out at the end of this year if shit don't get right in Vegas. Like, I have a feeling he's gonna take the axe. And I don't want to see it because you know how I feel about Derek Carr.
I can already see it, dude.
But like, I feel like he's gonna be the downfall guy.
Oh, you did it.
If we don't make the playoffs this year, I don't see them firing Josh McDaniels because Mark Davis gets these weird infatuations with coaches, like coaches that like are complete ass cheek. Like, he takes this he just gets infatuated. I don't know if it's like the name or if he's got some low key kind of like, you know,
it's the visor.
thing.
It's visors, dude. He's into the visors, my guy. I called it, dude. Bro. Sleuthing.
That's a great point. Yeah.
He's like, man, that visor looked great on my bowl cut. He's like, that's the kind of hat I can wear while I'm getting my hair cut. Oh my god, dude. We've solved the mystery.
Solved it, bro.
But you've just put it out there, and this is my fear that you could be right, and if that happens, I already know where he's going. Because if that happens, and I mean, there's a bit of an and here, because all the reports have been that Matt Ryan expects to play multiple years, and that at least going into the season, Matt Ryan was expecting to play multiple years, and Frank Reich was expected to want him there for multiple years. So, but again, heard that about Carson Wentz as well. And so if those things play out a certain way and the Colts say goodbye to Matt Ryan, absolutely. I mean, Derek Carr was already rumored this offseason to potentially be going there. And
that's if he wants. Like, here's the thing, though. He is made. You may get lucky and not get him. Because here's the thing. He's already said multiple times, and I don't know how, you know, people say all kinds of shit in press conferences, but he has said multiple times that he's a Raider for life. So if for some reason he gets cut by the Raiders, he's retiring. He's said that numerous times. He don't want to play for any other team. I don't know how true that is.
That's crazy, dude.
But yeah, he says he don't want to play for any other team.
That's what you want your quarterback to say, though, right? Yeah. Like, damn. Like, Russ gets all this credit. I feel like there are certain guys that do give Derek Carr his due, but even me, because a lot of times for fun, especially just because of our dynamic, I have been harder on Derek Carr than maybe even I would want to be because it's just fun. But dude, that guy I don't think gets it. Like, he's maybe the best locker room guy. Watch, he's gonna have some kind of scandal come out in a week, and I'm gonna look like an idiot for saying this, but I think like stuff that Russell Wilson crap, half the time it feels like it's for show. Like, to me, right now, putting myself on the spot, I think Derek Carr is maybe one of the best leaders, best locker room leaders at quarterback.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of hard not to give him that credit, especially after last year with all the shit that happened with Gruden and Ruggs and.
It's been a year after. It's been a decade of that, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Like, last year was the worst, but I don't have to tell you.
Still made the playoffs. Like, I mean, that says a lot about the leadership, man. Like, I mean, no one's ever said a bad thing about Derek Carr, like, player-wise.
Except for me.
Yeah, legit. Kevin, like 3 other people. But anyways, like, legit, none of the guys he's ever played with have said, even Crabtree, who's notorious for talking shit about his teammates, you know, never said a bad word about Derek Carr. Like, it's one of those things where, like, he does seem like a great dude. He's a dude you want to have on your team. And he's not a bad quarterback. He gets a lot of shit, but it's like, dude, it's like kind of like the Raiders are like the Browns of the West. They always have different fucking coach or coordinator. It's usually never the same system 2 to 3 years in a row. There's always something changing. You got to learn a new... Dude's in his time that Derek Carr has been in the league, he got drafted 2016, 2017. He's had 7 different offensive coordinators. Like, dude,
it's insane.
Yeah, dude, like, and 3 different head coaches. Like, as you say, I think he started with Dennis Allen, so 4. Because he had Dennis Allen for a year, then he had Jack Del Rio, then Gruden, and then now we got Josh McFuckles. I don't know. But, like, I can't...
Very different systems, too. Like, when you talk about, like, what Gruden wants to do, and then you look at McDaniels, like, totally Patriots offense.
Totally different.
Which I don't know. Are they running? I can't imagine, and you've probably watched a lot more film than I have. Are they running McDaniels, or are they still staying? Because they predominantly were under, like, I feel like the Raiders were under center a lot more. Maybe not more than average, but I don't know. They weren't seeming like line it up in shotgun almost every down. When I think Josh McDaniels Patriots offense, I think shotgun.
Yeah, they're running a lot more shotgun.
A lot more.
Yeah. Usually a lot more like shotgun, one to two running back sets coming out. So they'll have like fucking Zamir White on one side and Josh Jacobs on one side, and usually use Zamir like to block and shit like that.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of those like shotgun sets, but he, I don't know, dude. It's a totally different system, and like Derek Carr has even said, like it was hard to adjust because he ran a Gruden system for 3 years, totally different. Now you're throwing him a whole new system, and he's got his boy Devontae over there, so he feels. As one thing I have noticed about Carr, one big piece of criticism that I will agree on, 100%, is he gets locked in too damn much. He locks in on one guy, and he tries to force the ball. Like he did the same shit with Darren Waller last year, was forcing him the ball all the time. Now he's doing the same shit with Devontae Adams. Like I get it. I mean, if you got a stud like that on your team, you want to get him the ball.
Yeah.
But when he's double covered and you're throwing in fucking double coverage, like why? Like not only are you risking a pick, but like he usually doesn't catch him because he's got 2 fucking dudes on him. Like this is not happening.
And you have Waller, who showed he was more than capable last year, and you have Renfro, who gets forgotten about. Now. Is he hurt right now?
Yeah, he's been out. He was out last couple games, but great point. Hey, I mean, you're absolutely right.
He doesn't need to force it, is all I'm saying. Yeah. Like
you have 3
Waller
or 4 dudes.
should be eaten.
Yeah, legit. And then you got a running game, dude. Like Josh Jacobs has proven he is a stud. When he's healthy, like he can run with the best of them. I think he's top 10 running back in the league, personally. And also this year, I think he's even got added motivation because they turned down his 5th-year contract. So like they turned that down. So he's out here trying to play, bro.
And then all we hear all preseason is how it's not really his job anymore. Like as an outsider who was just doing my research for fantasy purposes at the time, that was like I avoided him because it was like, oh, he's not really getting any of the preseason snaps, but it's not like. Or then there was I think there was a game where he got like a ton of preseason snaps, and it was like he shouldn't be playing right now because if he's a starter, none of the other starters are playing.
That they were putting him on display for trade purposes, and there was that whole chatter about all that, and it was bullshit. But I kind of figured it. I drafted him, and I think in both. Well, no, one of my leagues I have him because I knew there's none of those running backs are better than Josh Jacobs. Zamir White he's okay. Like Britton Brown from fucking UCLA. So I'm like, none of these dudes are going to get more snaps than Josh Jacobs. So, and they brought like Brandon Bolden over too. He's on the squad. Amir Abdullah.
No.
You got a fuckload of running backs.
Yeah, 2 of the same guys too. Like if you had Abdullah, what are you getting Brandon Bolden for? Like that's how many pass catching backs do you need? But then again, thinking about who the coach is.
And they plucked so many players from New England. It's annoying. But,
oh god.
Yeah, dude, it's gross. I'm kind of almost want to wish I had one of those like Adam Sandler click remotes where I could just fast forward like 2 seasons and just
skip this part. Yeah,
just skip the whole Josh McDaniels era altogether.
Dude,
it would be beautiful.
It would be, and I know you talked about that, the force feeding of Devontae. I had to when I was looking at the stats, couldn't believe it. The Broncos held Carr to about 180 something passing yards, but Devontae had 9 for 101. And I was just like, Jesus, dude. Like, maybe that's why you only threw for 180 yards. Because, I don't know, it was hard to gauge because you want to give credit to the Broncos' defensive backfield because they got some names back there. They got some guys.
He targeted Devontae 19 times, dude.
Jesus, wow. But then you watch Jacobs just scampering down the field and you're like, okay, maybe that was why I only threw for 183 yards. I don't know. It's hard to gauge, but yeah, definitely got that vibe. Which was like, okay, yeah, it's the Devontae show. I feel you. But yeah, at least you guys are no longer defeated, no longer winless. You're off the schneid, and I mean, it's early enough. You're still in as a team who, for some reason, as a fan of a team who, for some reason, starts every season like 1-4 and ends up in the playoff race. It can be done. Yeah. Just have McDaniels. Actually, you know what? The Colts probably won't take any calls from him now that I think about it, for good reason. Yeah. But yeah, just study the Frank Reich tape because apparently, for some teams, it's just they don't like the preseason, so they skip it, and then they just use the first 4 weeks of the real season as their warm up.
Got a cool stat for you, bro.
Ooh.
So, since 1990, teams that started 0-3 have a 14% chance of making the playoffs.
There you go.
Teams that go 0-4 have like a 2% chance of making the playoffs. So, based off experience from since 1990. So, now that we have a win column, we have a little bit better of a chance for postseason play than we would have lost this game.
And the window's bigger now, isn't it? There's more teams getting in.
Yeah,
so
true. Yeah, because I mean, we've only had this. What, this is the second year, 17 games. I think it started last year. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So,
so it'll be interesting. Nobody's really out of it yet. It's been what's kind of interesting about the AFC. There have been a lot of surprise. Like the Broncos sitting at 2-2 in the way that they've looked,
and
losing
we play
to
the
Seattle.
Chiefs Monday night, so we got the Chiefs up next. If we
It's a
can
winnable
beat the
game.
Chiefs, if we can beat the Chiefs, like people will be talking positive again. Like, okay.
Oh yeah, can confirm. You should have seen what these goofballs did to the Colts in the power rankings, and even the odds makers had the Colts as the favorites going into the Titans. Even I knew that was dumb. I bet against that. That's silly. They win. Yeah, you beat the Chiefs, and you're gonna jump 8 spots in the power rankings, even if you win by 1, and it's because somebody muffed their punt. Like they'll be like, "No, these guys are great. They beat Pat Mahomes. It's great." So yeah, that's all you need to do, and you're in the playoffs. It might even give you a bye. They'll be like, "Wait a minute."
Admittedly, I didn't watch those highlights of the Colts and the Chiefs. Was it a good game?
It was a good game, but it was fool's gold for any Colts fans who didn't watch it closely, because what you saw, what happened was, once again in clutch time, the Colts offense failed to get it done, but in unfortunate for Kansas City and incredibly lucky for Indianapolis, penalty by Chris Jones extended a drive and then kept it going. And then also, again, the muffed punt thing I said very specifically, because part of the reason the Colts won was because the Chiefs muffed a punt inside their own 10-yard line.
Oh, wow.
And so the Colts, they were able to punch that in. But so again, a bit of fool's gold, because the offense just has not been able to get it done. And we were talking earlier about the offensive line. Again, that specific example I used was from the Chiefs game, where you have your two Pro Bowl level guys, but they're trying to block the whole. They're basically blocking. You can rush 4, and you're basically going 4-on-2, because you've got just some dead weight on either side of your 2 best guys, and the communication's bad. And it was somewhere they really should have put a little more focus into.
It sounds like you guys are in the same boat as my squad, dude. The offensive line is just some straight butt fungus, dude.
It's just, terrible.
Then
you got idiots like Dan Dockich going online saying, "Andrew, I told you then, and I mean it now. Andrew Luck left because of the culture." And it's like, yeah, because everybody who was there then is still there now. And no, Andrew Luck left. You know why he left?
Because of the line?
Watch what Matt Ryan's going through, and that's why he left, dude. He left because his spleen got ruptured.
Yeah, he's tired of getting fucking hurt every year. I don't blame him. You know what I'm saying? Like, the line,
he wanted to raise his kids, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. You want to be able to walk around and play with your kids and not fucking wheel yourself around in a chair. You know, like, that was about what he was heading towards.
Yeah,
he kept getting hit the way he was getting hit. That dude. It's like every year he had some kind of crazy off-season surgery. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, I don't think it was the culture. I think it was the protection.
I think it was his wife literally sat him down and was like, hey, like, you need to think about your life, because like he literally, because I mean I did watch the like retirement press conference they did, and he was emotional. Like, you could tell he loves football. He didn't necessarily want to retire, but he probably felt like he didn't have a choice. He's like, do I want to be crippled, you know, or do I want to like get out while I still can and live my life somewhat joyfully?
Right.
So,
and that's the kind of people that complain are the same kind of people that if someone came up to them today and said, "I'm going to give you $1 million, you'll never have to work again," they'll walk away from their job tomorrow. But they expect athletes who go through, especially football players who go through the equivalent of how many car accidents a week?
Yeah.
And expect them dudes to do it because those 4 hours every Sunday that they go out and play, it's an escape for the rest of us. And so now you owe it to me, the fan. You owe it to me to play those games. How dare you? And I'm not down with that.
Nah.
You know, these are human beings.
Right.
Let's treat them as such. And you mentioned wives, which brings me to a tangent I wasn't expecting to go on, but I think we have to do it. Because I don't know if you saw a recent clip, but I'm gonna stick with our segue here. You mentioned wives. There's been some rumors of Tom Brady having trouble at home. Maybe potentially no bad stuff, no allegations of infidelity or anything. But basically, from what it sounds like, is someone's not happy that Tom unretired and that the family has grown apart. And meanwhile, back overseas in Dubai, Antonio Brown was acting a fool in a pool. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I have not.
Okay, so Antonio Brown accosted a woman. He was naked in a pool. There's footage of all of this, by the way. He leapt up out of the pool enough to put his bare ass in her face twice. At first, she's laughing at it. She's like, ha ha ha, this is funny. And he's just like throwing his ass in her face. And there's a bunch of dickheads at the side of the pool jeering him on, like, because he needs to be fucking encouraged. And then he, according to people there, took a scarf from someone. And then there's footage of him trying to wrap that scarf around the same woman's head from before, the one he was ass facing. She gets away from him. He picks her up, like German suplex style, and dunks her in the water like she's his kid brother. Mind you, he's naked while doing this. And at this point, she is thoroughly freaked out, and so she swims away. Antonio then glides back to the pool wall and pulls his dick out. Real quick yank. Like, what happened was people took a screenshot of the 1 second where it was out of the water, and that's the photo that everyone saw. So it looked like he was just full on crank yanker, which it wasn't. It was a quick flash, not excusing it, but just giving you the actual context of what happened. He flashes his dick out. He's then asked to leave because, of course, once he pulls his dick out, then the peanut gallery is like, oh, whoa, too far, bro. And it's like, why are you antagonizing the naked crazy dude in the pool? Like, and then you're gonna be like, oh no, you guys are the ones I'm blaming here. What are you doing? You should have shut it down right away. Right. So anyway, she's probably still complaining right now about it to a hotel and authorities. So he gets in trouble for that. Later that day or the next day on Instagram, Antonio Brown posts a photo of him and Giselle celebrating him being Antonio Brown. So Antonio Brown posts a picture of like him looking happy because they just won, and Giselle's like happy and celebrating. But the angle of it, like, there's a reason he chose that photo. Like, the way she's looking at him, I'm not trying to imply anything here. I genuinely think she was just happy. But there's a reason he posted it. And he posted it more to be kind of like, Tom's going through this drama with his wife, yada, yada. And here I'm about to post this picture where it looks like, we're all hugging on each other or whatever. Which now people are just really blasting AB. Because this is, like, AB knows this. Like, yes, he's got problems with his brain. But he also, like, this is money for him. He's a rapper now. Like, this controversial shit, it's just more clicks, it's just more engagement. There are some people that are still encouraging him, that are like, yeah, go let that man live, and then they'll go buy his shit. And so this is his brand now, just being the crazy person. Sorry, that was a lot. I spoke a lot for a long time, but now you know everything.
Man, that's a lot to take in, Kev.
So, my sources tell me that the Cleveland franchise has already reached out to Antonio Brown, looking to pair him with Deshaun Watson.
Oh my goodness, dude.
It's the second time I've made that joke. I'm probably going to get in trouble already. But yeah, so...
Oh, dude.
Just can't get enough. You want to know why he was there?
Why?
To perform for Floyd Mayweather. He was gonna rap while Floyd Mayweather walked down to a exhibition boxing match in Dubai.
What?
Yeah. So he also embarrassed money, kind of, I don't know. So I'm just saying, like, if I get invited to some kind of conference and I'm like, dude, come along, man. Like, this would be cool. We can do a podcast together. And you pull your dick out in the pool while I'm working on, I'm going to be very upset with you, man. Like, I'd be like, dude, what in the hell? I'm trying to help, we're boys. I'm trying to help you out. Like, trust me. You might be a fan of AB's music. I've never listened to it, so I'm not going to shit talk it. But I promise you, the exposure of doing a walk up for Floyd Mayweather is more exposure than AB is going to get on his own. So, like, what a huge fuck you to your friend who's doing you a huge favor. On top of just being a pervert like that.
I can't even say I feel bad for money. Like.
Well, no, I don't think anyone should. But.
No, like, dude, if you have not learned anything by now, if you're still a friend of Antonio Brown and you do him any kind of favors, do it your own risk, man. Like, you should know by now that could backfire so quickly. I mean, dude, this guy has burned so many fucking bridges in the NFL. Everywhere he's went. Like, Tom Brady had to, literally pull so many strings to get him to Tampa in the first place. And he does the shit that he did in Tampa. And now he's out here posting pictures, trying to add fuel to the fire with Tom Brady. Like, that's just disrespectful. Dude, you don't do that to another dude. Like, that's just, that's personal. That's beyond business. Like, that's personal. When you start adding shit like that, it's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree with you 100%. That's what makes it the worst part about it is all of the hoops that Tom Brady jumped through.
Yeah.
All the work he got that man a Super Bowl. Yeah. And again, like AB he deserves the credit for the work that he put in while he was there. I don't want to sit here and say that he didn't. By all accounts, he worked hard and had his shit together at first while he was there. But that doesn't excuse any of this either. And it's bad enough to do it, but yeah, to insert yourself into Tom Brady's shit when, look, I take every shot I can at Tom Brady. I am the opposite of Skip Bayless, all right? You give me Tom breaks 2 tablets, I make a podcast about it, okay? Like, I love the opportunities to take a shot at Tom Brady. But this isn't the thing to do it about, in my opinion. This has been we talk about unspoken rules and agreements and all that, but that has always been a locker room thing. That's always been a friend thing. You leave the wives out of it. You leave the girlfriends out of it.
It's just basic bro code.
Yeah, it's just being a decent fucking human being. Yeah. And so for him to do that to someone who's had his back is what makes it just 10 times worse.
It just proves to you that he gives 0 fucks about anyone but himself. Like, it proves that, like, to a T. Like, you can't, I don't know, like I said, that's why I don't feel bad for Floyd, because, like, if he was paying any attention, like, something should tell you, like, hey, maybe I should keep my distance with this crazy ass dude. Like, something ain't right. Like you said, these dude's got serious brain issues. Something ain't right. And I literally, again, this is all theories, but I really feel the theory that, like, whenever he got that nasty ass hit from Vontaze Burfict back in that one blow, he was never the same after that.
Yep.
If you think about it, that's when a lot of the weird shit started happening with him. Was, like, something I think really messed him up, man. Like, I think he seriously was concussed to a point where something just fucked his brain up. Because he has seriously not been the same. Because he used to be the dude who was in, like, progressive commercials. He was a quiet dude. Like, he wasn't always up in the media doing this nonsense. There was a period of his career where he was literally about football, and you didn't hear about the bullshit off the field. And then that whole playoff game happened, and it feels like the very next season, and that's when everything started happening with him, with the crazy off-field shit and starting fights with Ben and all this stuff. Like, dude, I don't know. I think something happened, and I do feel, as a person, I do generally feel bad for the guy. If he needs help, I wish he'd get the help. You know what I'm saying? He obviously needs some kind of help.
Yes.
Now, as a football player, fuck him for life. I don't give a shit about that. The way he did my boys. But, like, just a human being, bro. Like, I really would like to see the guy get help. Because there's going to come a point where he's going to do something to really fuck his life up. Whether it's get himself in prison. Now he's out here putting his dick in people, ass in people's faces.
Yeah.
He's going to get himself in. You say he was in Dubai when that happened?
Yeah.
Like, dude, especially doing that in a foreign country, like, dude,
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brittany Griner got locked up in Russia for having some damn weed pods on her, dude. And you're out here, like, flashing people and sexually assaulting people.
How does he know that's not, like, some foreign leader's wife or something that he's fucking groped? Like, you do that to the wrong person in the wrong country, we might not ever hear from you again.
But
you'll be an unsolved mystery. And and I'm with you there. I do hope that, he gets some help. And I agree. And there have been a resurfacing of many a clip, which you all can find on the Bite Size Sports Twitter account. That's right, the best place to find all of the crazy weird shit that's happening. We curate it all on the timeline for you. There have been lots of pre-Vontaze Burfict hit interview clips popping up to make that very case. Like, y'all can't tell me this is who this man was before, and look at him now. You can't tell me it's had no impact. So if you want to see some of that stuff for yourself, go check it out there. And I think there's absolutely something to that. And I think that is why it's so important. And I hope the NFLPA got what they needed. And I know the last I heard it was in the works and it could be going live immediately. the new protocol that says if there's any sort of instability from any player who's taken a head injury, that they're not allowed to come back in the game. Because we haven't talked about this Tua stuff yet. You and I haven't, at least. When Tua took a big hit in week 3 and was wobbly, and then came back, got brought back in later that game. They said it was a rib injury or a back injury, and then played that Thursday, got another head injury, one so bad that his fingers curled up again. Check it out on the social media. Like, it's unfortunate. Like, it's one of those weird things. I got to feel like an ambulance chaser. But this is the stuff that, like, we have to be loud about this stuff, because, like, Tua should never have been allowed. He never should have been put in that position. We have to protect other young men, other future family members and stuff from being allowed to be trotted out there like some kind of gladiator that can die for our entertainment. Like, we have to make some noise about this. You need to look at this stuff. It is kind of scary to look at, but some commentators, when they first saw it, thought he had broken his fingers. That's how badly warped his fingers were from whatever, because he landed. It was a slingshot tackle where the back of his helmet hit the ground first, so just kind of boom.
Yeah. I seen footage. I don't know if it was that hit or the week before that he took, but like I saw him, like he was walking and he got real wobbly.
That's the
like,
first
two of
one.
his teammates had to like pretty much.
That was the first one. That happened on a Sunday. They played him the following Thursday.
That's insane, dude.
And the independent doctor, I believe, has been punished or fired or whatever. There is an investigation, but the NFLPA, I think, has taken it into their own hands and just said, no, I don't care, because it does appear that there were some loopholes used to get him back in the game. But this is the Dolphins, and this is what I did my previous episode about. To me, they're the Patriots now. Like, this first, we had the Brian Flores thing where they're trying to pay their coach more money to tank, and he won't do it, and so they get rid of him despite him kind of succeeding despite what their best efforts to make him fail.
Where is Brian Flores now, by the way?
I can't remember if he was probably a coordinator somewhere. I don't remember. I know there was the whole lawsuit, so I don't know if where he wound up, but
there's talks about him going to Vegas if.
Ooh, there we go, baby. I
would
would like that. I would like that a lot, dude.
Wouldn't be mad about that.
He could get it done. And then there's the Tom Brady and Sean Payton tampering with Miami. That stuff that at one point we thought was a joke and then turned out to be true. And now there's this, and it's just there's wanting to win. Yeah. And then there's just being downright scummy.
Shady,
yeah. And you know, we saw the way some of their fans behaved after beating the Bills. That was unfortunate too. It's a bad week it's bad. The Dolphins just look bad on all. They got those shitty old dudes who pop champagne every time the last unbeaten team loses. Like, I'm just here to tell y'all, as a franchise, until you get those old dudes to stop doing that shit, you're gonna be cursed. This is your future. This is your present. You'll be mediocre until those old dudes quit rubbing in their one success on the rest of the league. Like, quit being like that. That's petty. That's stupid. That's why you suck. I'm sorry, but it's what's going on. Get it. Tell them to fix it. I've got one last thing for you. I want to make sure I talk with you about. It's not football related, but. Friend of the show, Kai Soto, and his homies from Australia went and played a pickup game, old Arizona way, a couple days ago, and they put on a show against your Phoenix Suns, Sean B. The tweet. Here's a tweet that I saw. That's why this whole thing ended up here. It said, "Tell me how the 2K23 cover athlete just lost a game to a bunch of dudes with 2K23 as a sponsor on their jerseys." Are you worried at all about a team from Australia coming up and taking the Suns out back, taking them out behind the shed?
Not at all.
At home, dude? You're not worried?
Not at all. That's some cloud chasers. But,
that is right, dude. They should be on the clout route, dude. I'm looking for. I want to find the stats. Where are my stats? Oh, there we go. The 36ers. Man, dude, they had a 38-point second and fourth quarter. Cameron,
what the fuck is a 36er, bro?
Yeah, I don't know. I am dying to know what a 36er is. But my main man, Kai Soto, had 11 points off the bench. There was 11 points off the bench. The big time was Randall, 35 points, 13 of 21 from the floor, but he hit 9 of his 17 3-pointers. Them dudes was balling. Your boy Devin Booker only played 22 minutes. He was 5 of 8, 0 for 2 from 3, 13 points. Nothing crazy. But yeah, the starters did not play. Well, they all played exactly 22 minutes, and about half the bench didn't play. So yeah, when I first saw this, I immediately thought, well, like, no way any of the starters played, right? But no, they all played. I think Jay Crowder is like the only big missing name, because he's not playing with you guys, right? Have you heard anything about that? Like, didn't he want to be traded? I think he wants out or something. He wasn't with the team.
To be fair, I'm kind of out the loop. I haven't done much digging on NBA recently because football season started a month ago. So I've just kind of been living up the NFL life. But I do need to get cracking on some Suns research to see what is going on. But no, I was not aware that Jay Crowder was on some BS right now. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, we got to look into it. But he was not with the team. Everybody else who didn't play was just a coach's decision. Really no bench notables other than Cameron Payne, Ayton and Bridges looked good. Ooh, speaking of DeAndre Ayton, we haven't had a chance to have this conversation since it all happened. We talked about this at length when my boys signed Ayton, and then your boys got him back. Have you seen any of the interviews recently that DeAndre Ayton has done? I'm guessing no, based on what we just talked about. So I might be breaking some news for you. DeAndre does not appear to be very happy in Phoenix. He's been interviewed a couple of times in the practice gym. He has said things when asked about, like, if he's happy that the deal just got done. He has said things like, I'm just here to work, man. There's a name on the front of my jersey and the name on the back of my jersey, and every time I step in between those lines, I'm going to give 100%, and that's it. But like, has refused to at any point say, like, yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's been all, I'm just here to work. I'm just here to do my job. And it gets better. At one point, he was asked what conversations he and head coach Monty Williams have had over the offseason. And Ayton said, and I quote, Monty hasn't spoken to me. Ooh. I haven't talked to Monty since the last game. So, trouble in paradise. DeAndre Ayton.
But yeah, dude, I wasn't super aware that there was beef like that between DeAndre and Monty. I do remember seeing something about, like, after they re-signed DeAndre back from the Pacers, Monty was asked if, like, the issues that they were having in the finals were carrying over. And he was like, that game was that game, we're moving on. Said all the right things, but you can't help but kind of wonder if it was BS. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me that there's trouble in paradise, but I don't know, man. It's tough because it's hard to really pick one side or another because Monty's a beast. Like, I fucks with Monty. Like, I think he's a great coach, but then you have in my opinion, one of the better centers in the league, so it's tough, man. It's a weird predicament to be in.
I feel bad for the dude. I get it, wanting to be a Pacer. I get it. He just looked at that roster and he saw Tyrese Halliburton and he's like, oh, man. That's my squad. So I think he's just sad. I think he just wanted to go, and now he's here, and he can't leave.
Yeah,
could be bad, and it's unfortunate because it could be the downfall for your boys. And now I know they're mainly only your boys because of Devin Booker, but if Ayton stays unhappy and then doesn't produce, which there isn't really a sign of that, he played well against the 36ers, but they don't have enough without him. Like, they need him to not only be as good, they need him to continue to elevate if they're going to win a title. So I'm afraid that window might be closing, which means maybe you're rooting for a new team someday soon when Devin Booker finds his way out to L.A.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Better not be no L.A. I'll be salty.
Oh.
But it might be, because as long as he was what's-her-face, Kendall Jenner, he's probably going to be stuck in the West Coast. Like, she probably, I don't see him going to Minnesota or anything like that.
Hey, maybe. Yes, you probably got a good point. You probably got a real good point. He might end up in Brooklyn. Or maybe Boston, where he can hang out with number 91, Blake Griffin.
That's gross.
Who He's having a good social life right now, too. That's fun. Well, anyway, that is it for us. Shawn, you got any parting words for these fools?
No, appreciate you guys tuning in. It was great being on the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And until next time, find Bite Size Sports on the interwebs, dog.